What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Truth About Him podcast, number one podcast from Health and Wellness. I'm Anthony.
I'm Barron.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome to another week. We are in the house, even though we've had some challenges over the past few weeks. Right,
Yeah, a couple hurdles.
Right, one is I'm recovering from a little bitty cold.
Just got to see his pediatrician.
You got to see my pediatrician. I was talking to a herbalist the other day.
Okay.
And she was saying that there's no such thing as cold and flu season. You need to take care of your body all year. I'm like, okay.
There's some truth to that.
There's some truth to that, but I'm like, nah, well, right now, I'm in the season right now, right?
Yeah, it's cold season, yeah.
It's cold season, so I'm recovering from that. And I wasn't going to do the podcast.
I know.
Right? But then when you text me, I had a thought, right? So
I'm wondering what that thought was, because when you were like, nah, I'm going to push through.
Here's the thought. So I got this little code for my kids. Kids go to school, they come home and bring back germs, right? So day one of my son, so my son got sick, my daughter got sick. Well, I'm gonna say don't feel well, right? They're both not feeling well, and I'm saying that because it's gonna preface the story. So my son, the next morning, he's like, man, I don't feel well. He is moping around the house. And I'm like, a thought came to my head. I said, son, do you not feel well or are you sick? Because there's a difference, right?
Are you hurt or are you injured?
Exactly, right? Exactly. Because I'm like, if you don't feel well, you got to push through things, because there are days you won't feel well. You can't just lay in bed and mope around. That's why I said, hey, do you not feel well or are you sick? And he was like, didn't say anything. Let's go to school.
Right.
I already let them sleep in a little bit because they didn't feel well. So, we slept in a little bit. We're like maybe half hour late. So we get down to school. I take my daughter to school and he says, I'm sick. I want to go back home. I'm like, brother.
After he didn't already got up, got dressed, left the house.
Made everybody late because we're waiting for him.
Right.
And I asked him, son, we're in the house. Are you sick or don't feel well? Because if you're sick, you can stay home. If you don't feel well, we're going to push through it.
Right.
Right? He didn't communicate. I'm like, at the house, I gave you opportunity to communicate how you feel. You were moping around and didn't say anything. So now you're going to school, right? So that was my thought. My thought was like, you know what, Anthony, are you sick or do you not feel well, right? And I just don't feel well, because how many times have you had to do things in life, right? Go to work, take care of the kids when you didn't feel well, right? When you're sick, okay, I can't move. That's different. Right. So that's why I say, I'm just pushing through it, because, I just don't feel well.
Yeah.
I'm here.
And that's valid. And then you got to think about it. Like some people don't feel well and still go to work.
Right.
And it's for a myriad of reasons, but you go to work for somebody else when you don't feel well. Right. So you can go to work for yourself if you don't feel well. It's you keep it pushing. Yeah. If anything, you could just change the times. You can you can shorten up your hours.
And we did. We went to school a little bit late, right? But I think that's what I'm trying not to think. But I'm just trying to put in them that you can't do things based on how you feel. Sometimes things have to get done regardless. If you don't feel well, if you're sick and can't move, then okay, I got you. But nah, that not. I mean. I didn't tell him this, man, but especially as a young man growing up into a man, all eyes are on you.
Yep.
Everybody's going to look at you to get things done. And how you feel, it's not going to really matter at that point. Right. Because they didn't know I didn't feel well until today. I didn't tell him that.
He was down for a whole week, right?
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Let's just push through. Let's go, because I want to be the example. So again, that's why you got that text.
And that's what it is. That's what it's all about. Like, because kids nowadays are not watching or listening to what we say.
Right.
They're watching us. They're saying, well, if Dad stay home and he has the sniffles, then I can stay home because I have the sniffles.
I'm out.
Yep. So
I'm out getting it done.
Kudos to you, bro.
Thank you, my bro. Kudos to you. Thank you.
Now I'm about to be sick.
Nah, you get it. It was the backhand. If I still like that, then you'd be all right. Like,
got you.
I'm not saying I don't feel well, bro. I'm not
That's
saying
right.
I don't feel well.
That's right.
Come on,
now
man.
I'm a not feel well, But I rebuke that.
Yeah. So today's topic, we were talking about, it's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister.
Willpower is the real power. Right?
Willpower is the real power.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that. So you brought up a few things, but How do you think that plays out in life?
Part of it is constant everyday self-mastery, like knowing what triggers you, knowing what bothers you, knowing your strengths, more importantly, knowing your weaknesses,
right,
and being responsible for them. You know, that is the one of the hardest things. People think strength is, lifting weights or grinding, grinding out. I hate when people say, I'm just grinding, bro. I'm grinding. For what? What are you grinding for? What are you grinding? What's the purpose of your grind? But one of the hardest things, real strength, is being able to say no to something or to someone when it's so easy to say yes. Yeah. It's easy to say yes, but that's not your purpose. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. So to say no is more power in the word no than it is in the word yes. It's easy to say.
There's more power in no.
So, that more. Perfect example. You asked me for $200. We're just gonna put it out there money wise. You asked me for $200. I tell you yes. Bucks? Yeah, I tell you yes.
Okay.
Are you gonna ask me why?
I'm not.
Now, you ask me for $200. I tell you no. Are you gonna ask me why?
Me, I won't, but
I know.
But
yes, some people will. Why not?
You got
it. That part. You got it. I got it.
Yeah.
We don't got it. I have it. Yeah. And I have it because I'm working on it. I'm constantly working on it. I was told this a long time ago, and I didn't get it until I was older. The word no requires no explanation.
Right.
No explanation at all. If you're not going to ask me why when I say yes, then you damn sure can't ask me why if I say no.
Right. So
I'm comfortable now saying no to a lot of things based on where I'm supposed to be going, what my vision is, what am I supposed to be doing. So that in itself is, you might question your no when you say it at the time.
Yeah.
But you won't after the fact when all the dust settles and you're thinking about it, you're like, damn, I show real strength in that moment. Yeah. That's true power, because if anybody can chase money. Anybody can chase likes. Anybody can chase status and all of that stuff. But if you don't have purpose, if you don't have like a clear vision or version of what you're supposed to be doing, then you are just running a wheel, and you're basing every emotion, every reaction on something that you see on the TikTok or the Instagram or the Facebook or all of that stuff. So
all of these,
all of those, all of these. So, we say man, but every person has ambition.
Right.
Everybody wants to do something. Everybody feels that they should be doing something that they want to do, but not everybody has restraint.
Right.
And restraint is one of the things that can keep you purpose driven and keep your clarity clear, so to speak. So, just making sure that you don't say yes to everything, everything that triggers you. You get a couple of likes and you're like, oh man, I'm on. Yeah. Or you get this proposition and you're like, oh man, I'm that dude again.
Yeah.
Were you ever not that dude?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If women and money makes you that dude, then you're not that dude.
So this is my question. So when you're going through like the norms, right, and you get into your routine in life, and is not that money or the attention makes you that dude, but what about what's the word I'm looking for? The reassurance or the reminder, right? Does that give you a bit of confidence for this, or remind you, what, I am that dude, but it feels good knowing that person also sees me as that dude, that it's not just me, I have that reminder of I'm that dude. Follow me?
Yeah, I got you. That is part of it, but you can never expect anyone to give you something that you haven't given yourself already.
Correct.
So if someone says you're that dude, you're edifying what I already, know. So you're verifying that. Yeah. So if anything, that's verification.
Exactly.
I appreciate it, do I need it? There's a difference between, what I need and what I want. You would like it.
Yeah.
You would like it. You want it. You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing by people. You want that reassurance. But if I never get it, am I going to stop doing what I'm doing?
I look at it as the back in my head, like a little bit like pre-workout, right? You go to the gym. I mean, I'm there. I'm gonna work out regardless. But you know what? That little hit of whatever it is, it gives me that extra bump to do extra reps, right? Because now, in a sense, I don't know if that makes sense, but
it's an additive.
Yeah, that's how I relate it to just it's like that extra bump, even though it's not needed, but it's something that can help push you to that next. It's dopamine hit, right? Everybody wants that dopamine hit, right?
But if you don't take it, are you still gonna achieve your goal?
Right. You have to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You have to. And you mentioned something when we were talking. You said that you stopped thinking like the norm, and start thinking like a king.
Right.
Right.
So so you have to think like any normal person would have probably said, "Oh yeah, that's what it is. That's what that's what it is." And anytime that you're comfortable with being normal, that's just, I don't want to be normal. I want to stand out. However that looks like to me. I might not stand out the same way you stand out, or you might not stand out the same way anybody else stands out. But the point is to not be normal. The point is to not do things like everybody else does. If everybody's going right, I kind of want to go left.
What if left is wrong?
Then I have to find that out on my own. Okay. I have to find that out on my own. But it's also good to have wise counsel around you.
Right.
So you are only as powerful, smart, intuitive, thoughtful, loving, caring as the people that are around you.
Right.
So if I have those quality type of people around me, I'm going to listen to them.
Right.
Because, and it all falls back on us, because I allow you to be around me. You allow me to be around you. Mm-hmm. So you must have some kind of value. You see some kind of value in me to be around you.
Right.
So if I tell you that left is wrong, you may think twice before you go right.
Right.
So you're like, B did say that I was, maybe I will go right, Yeah. So it's all about, and it all falls again, it circles back to you. It all circles on who do you have around you, what kind of relationships are being built around you and we just talked about this on the mantle. Are the relationships that I have around me, whatever they are, relationships, are those relationships going to take me to my desired place in life, my purpose, and if not, then you evolve and you figure out, you might not eliminate those relationships, but you definitely may curve some of them, put them in a box. I only go this far with you. I'm not going to talk about these things with you. I'll talk about sports and leave it to sports, but I'm not going to talk about other things that may require insight and thoughtfulness because you clearly don't have that. I learned that the hard way. I had a friend of mine a long time ago, good friend of mine. He did some things I didn't agree with. And I was younger, and I was just like, it's nothing for me to cut people off. I don't give a shit. I'll cut you off. And I cut him off. It's one of my regrets because he was a good friend. There were just some things that I should have curved the relationship. I should have been like, okay,
not cut him off.
Yeah, I shouldn't have cut him off. And it's one of the things I regret. It's one of my regrets that I have in my life, and I don't have many, but that's one of the things I regret because, like I said, he was a good person. He just didn't move the way I moved. But who knows if I would have stuck around him more, maybe we could have merged into the same lane, so to speak. But who knows? So you live and you learn, you grow from it, and now I know that I don't just cut people off without giving them a chance to, understand where I'm coming from, and vice versa. So I honor those people that are close to me.
So for me, I'm the opposite. So it's been difficult for me to cut people out. Right?
Why? That's what I was going to ask why.
Yeah, that's the part that it took me a while to figure out, right? So I realized that I had abandonment issues, right?
That's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
So I was abandoned by, my dad. He bounced. So I'm like, okay, you know what? If people are supposed to love me, they're going to leave me, right? So it wasn't just that. So it was my fear of abandoning people, knowing that how much pain that caused. So that made me not want to abandon anybody else. No matter what they did, what they said, from friends to relationships, it's like, you know what? I can't be the one to let this go. Even though this is hurting me, I gotta stay because you know what? I don't want anyone to feel that pain that I felt because they're in pain because what Anthony did, right? So in business, I mean, I knew I had partners that I should have been in business with, right? I knew it. So my philosophy was, you know what? If God doesn't want him here, God will remove him, right? I'm not going to be the one that tells a person to leave or to go because I don't want any pain to be associated with my decision. So it's been hard for me to cut people off, tell people, bye bye, peace out, and I'm learning different now, and it's not cutting off, but really expressing how I feel. And you know what? If they don't like it, they don't like it, right? And that's something that I'm definitely learning. But that's been a big challenge in my life. Even going back to my children, because I feel that it's a challenge for me to say no and put me first with them, right? Because I want to make sure that I don't want them to feel any type of pain, right? But I realize, Anthony, pain is a part of life, right? They have to experience pain. They have to experience the no.
Right.
So just this past Monday, I'm not feeling well. I feel something coming. So Monday for us is a long day, right? So we have practice starting at 6. Then my son has practice at 8:30, and we're not home till like 11:30 midnight on Mondays, right? So I'm like, you know what? I need to rest, right? So I said, guys, today no practice. I need to rest, and I can see a little bit about in their face, but they're down a little bit. But I'm like, you know what? And I changed my mind 17 times on the way from school heading home. Right? I'm like, I'll take him. No, I'll take him. No, I'm like, you know what? You need to rest and take care of yourself. But that saying no for me has been a major challenge in my life, and I can see how it plays out right now in my life. Right? So, like I said, we're the opposite in that. But I'm getting much better. Right?
But let me ask you this though: when you told them no, was it as bad as you thought?
Absolutely not. They were.
I learned that
they were super understanding.
Yep.
Okay, Dad. That's it. I mean, even though I saw it, like, okay, Dad, and I changed my mind verbally. Like, no, we just go home. I'm like, cool, let's go home. So I went home and I rested. I took care of myself, and I just need to do more of that. And I'm not sure if the norm is saying being a yes man or a no man, right? So I'm just doing what makes me feel better,
right,
or feel complete, or feel whole,
right. Yeah, there is no yes man or no man. It is basically, if you fall, everybody behind you falls.
Facts. That's a bar right there.
So if you have to make sure that you are at your best,
right,
or it's damn near close to it.
Right.
Because there are going to be times where we as men, we are supposed to carry the heavier load. We're supposed to push through some things, not all things, but some things. And because we have to be that example, i.e. we doing this podcast right now.
Right.
You push through. You're pushing through. You're teaching your son how to push through because he's watching that. So there are some things we're supposed to push through, but if we continue to say yes to everything and everybody around us, it does not make us powerful.
Right.
It does not make us super dad. It makes us predictable.
Wow. Okay.
And the kids are the main ones that notice, oh, all I have to do is say this, especially the girls. all I have to do is say this and look at you a certain way or pout my lips or, whatever mannerisms they do. And what do we do as great dads? Okay. At the detriment of
just
us.
got played.
Yeah, you just got played. And they know that. So, saying yes to everything, every typical thing, whether it's a DM or your kids or whatever, it does not make you powerful. Right. It makes you predictable, and it does not set you up as a king. It sets you up as a regular, normal man or person.
I was watching or listening to this video, right? And and the guy was saying he was like the strongest sword in the world. It's a very, very mighty, powerful sword. It can break through anything, right? But every single sword has a weak point. That's what makes it so strong, right? And I'm like, wow, because I didn't know that. I thought that the whole sword shaft, every single inch was strong. Like, no, every sword has a weak point, and that's what makes a sword powerful. And that relates back to us. It's like, we don't believe or think that we should have weak points or points of, and I stopped using this word, because of you and you and a guy named J.C. Wilson, right?
Okay.
Vulnerability,
right? That word.
Vulnerability. So now the word is transparency, right?
Okay.
Be transparent. Because vulnerability is me exposing my weak points, right? Exposing where you can hit me.
It's pulling your guard down.
Pulling your guard down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a man should do that, right? I think that he should be transparent. Now I think that in how he speaks and represents himself, but as far as being vulnerable and like exposing your weak points, I don't believe in that, right? So these swords have points of where they're weak, where they're transparent, and that's what makes them strong. So us as men is that we have to know that we're strong because we have points of us that we can be weak, because those weak points make us stronger.
But if we let's go a step deeper.
Okay.
Knowing your weak points and knowing how to protect them makes you even more stronger, because let's not deny we all have a weak point. We all have a weak point. Everybody has a spot on their chin. Not everybody's can take a punch.
Right.
But everybody's got a spot where you hit them in the right spot.
Done deal.
It's just a wrap. So boxers, they know they have a weak point. They know if they're going into a fight and their ribs are, not 100%, they know how to continue to fight, but protecting that rib. They might not go into the fight winning in the mindset like I'm going to win. Yeah. They want to survive. Right. They want to get through they want to get through and get the payday and get out.
Right.
But protect themselves at all costs. Same thing with us. Like, we have to know. You have to know your weak points, more importantly, just as much as you know your strengths. So you have to know that, and then you have to set up. We just did a class on this. You have to set up your zone defense in order to protect. To protect your weak spots on defense, to protect you. That's one of the things about the good thing about a zone defense is because you put your zone defense is not. You do not move your zone defense to be predictable by the offense. The offense does not dictate your zone defense. Yeah. Your zone defense, you're responsible for this spot, you're responsible for this spot, you're responsible for that spot. If 81 cuts across, you communicate to your teammate, which we just learned. You communicate with your teammate like 81 is coming across. So now you're responsible for him. I'm not chasing him because this is my responsibility. So knowing your weaknesses is just as powerful as knowing your strengths, and in protecting them and being responsible for them is just as powerful. Knowing your triggers. Everybody has triggers. It's not my fault that I pushed your trigger and you reacted. It's your fault, because you should know and be responsible for your own triggers and know how it affects you, how it affects you, and you got to know when to either walk away or do something else, whatever it is, you know. You're responsible for your triggers, not the person that's sitting next to you. So, or the person that's laying next to you, or the person that you encounter in the streets. You got to be responsible for your own triggers. So,
if you think about like what made Superman strong. I mean, strong was he knew his weaknesses. He knew kryptonite was my weakness. So, if I know that, I'm not going to expose myself to that.
Right.
And
right.
You mentioned boxing. This was years ago, back when De La Hoya was fighting. Right. I forget the guy's name, but who was the bald-headed black guy that beat him? What was that guy's name?
The bald-headed black guy that beat him. It wasn't Floyd, even though Floyd did beat him. Pernell?
I think it was like one of his first losses.
Pernell Whitaker? Sweeping?
I'm not sure, but anyway, De La Hoya, he's boxing. He's basically winning a fight, right? So his opponent knew his vulnerability, knew that when he opened up, hit him in the rib, right? And he popped him, he went right down. He hit that button, right? So it's like when you expose your vulnerabilities, that button's gonna be hit and you're going down, right? And I mean, again, that's why I talk more about transparency now versus being vulnerable. But you have to know your weaknesses, because that's what makes you strong. That's what builds you up. And the more and more you know, and you can protect them, but have people that you can be transparent with about them. Hey, you know what? I'm weak right here. You not have that many conversations about this, right? I'm weak here. But the more you do that, the stronger you become as a man, and then now you can teach other men, other boys, about how to not be exposed but be transparent.
And then you learn something about yourself when you go through. When you say no to something, and you know it was easy for you to say yes to. When you come through that and you think about it, you almost redefine your strength all over again, and you're like, yeah, okay, damn, now. If I thought I was strong before, I'm really strong now. Like I'm even stronger now because
so much power.
I never thought that I would be able to do that. I never thought that I would be able to say no the way in that situation, the way I was, supposed to. You think about certain things that you not necessarily would think about a long time ago, and it comes with age. And I think honestly, with us doing this and our duty now is to make sure that those younger people coming up, because it could be man or female, those younger people coming up, we have a duty to kind of like pass that on, because nobody passed it to us.
Right.
We had to learn it.
Right.
So now that we've learned it, now what? What do you do with it now? Are you going to be a gatekeeper and hold it to yourself, or are you going to pay it forward and make sure that those are coming up behind you realize their strength as well?
Right.
And that's where you start to build. Now I'm strong. I pass it down to this person. Now they're strong. That person. It's a chain of events. It's positive energy and strength just going down the line. So now we're a chain link fence of strength.
Yeah.
Not too much can fuck with you with that, So, if it's easy to just say, they got it, to let them figure it out the way I had to figure it out. That's not fair, So you got to make sure that we're definitely passing it down through our actions, through our mentorships, through everything that we do. We make sure we pass it down.
Yeah.
So,
passing down is important, and every week we do the mantle, and I never told you this, but on the mantle, when I hear these guys talk, that shit saddens me. Right? It saddens me because I know exactly what they're experiencing. I know what they're going through. And, I had the exact same attitude they had, well, I know it's coming. It's going to be good. It's done. I mean, I'll be okay. But it's like, no, you're not. Right? You're not, because when you have something that's in front of you, I can say, you know what, once this water's gone, I mean, I know I'm drink, it's going to be gone. Right? Once it's gone, man, I'm thirsty again. Right? Like where's the water? And that's the part that saddens me. Is because a lot of times we play tough or pretend like certain things aren't going to hurt us. And no matter how big you are, no matter how much how tall you are, how much you weigh or don't weigh, pain is pain, right?
And that shit hurts.
That shit hurts. Pain does not discriminate,
Nope.
right? And I know we hide it, but I'm just not sure. I get so stuck. I'm like, what can I say to these guys to make them to realize that hey, this is going to be something that you're going to struggle with. This is going to be something that's excruciating. It's going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life. But I realize that you can't. Right? Words don't teach. Right? You have to go through the experience of it, because once you go through the experience of it, then you realize how painful that was, and you would never ever go through that again. Right.
And the good thing is, as painful as it is to go through, as difficult and hard as it is to go through, they have a community that they have,
bro.
They have a community that they can lean on, and they can. I mean, how many times have they we've had multiple guys on there crying. We have multiple guys on there just being super transparent or present in how they feel. We've had multiple times and then how many times have we heard, man, I'm so grateful that we have, I'm so grateful that we have this. So we're doing something right, because while we may not know the right things to say or figure out the things to tell them to make them feel better or to help them realize that they're going to be better once they go through it, just being there, being consistent and being present shows them that. And then them physically seeing you, not me, them physically seeing you lets them see, like, okay, there is something on the other side of that. I don't necessarily, this isn't my end all be all. I'm not gonna die from this.
It feels like it. It feels like it, and I think the worst thing these guys can say is like, I know. And I mean, I'm gonna be real. It's like a lot of people right now are really having challenges with marriage. Right? It's something that's big, and a lot of guys, well, again, a lot of people in general, they use, I'm married, God says don't get a divorce, even though I'm miserable in the marriage, that's what God says. And because it's true. That's the word of God. I'm not going to deny or fight that. That's the word of God. But I was studying. I'm like, God, just give me something, like, and I haven't even said this yet, like on the mantle. I'm like, give me something that I can talk to you guys about. And I'm reading, and the word of God clearly says, let no man put us under what I have put together. Right. How many marriages that are out there that God did not put together? But we use the word of God to justify not getting divorced.
Staying in it.
Yeah. Staying in it, right? Staying in it because, but God says, did I do this? I told you that you can't break up what I put together. Right. But there's so many people who did not allow God to put it together. Right. No, and again, not saying God can totally fix it. Right. And I am not promoting divorce at all. Right.
That's not our job.
No, not at all. Nope. But my goal is to share with these guys, what I'm learning, what I'm experiencing, just to give them some type of hope. Right. Because I tell people all the time, it's like, no matter if you want to leave, if your wife wants to leave, no matter who wants to leave, you work on yourself every single day, because either you guys are going to stay a couple and then you're a better man, or if you break up, you're a better man. So either way, you're a better man. So Absolutely. The goal is to work every day. But yeah, man, sometimes I just feel so sad and just so like, man, I mean, I wish I had something. But like you said, they have the community.
They have the community
that we can bounce off of.
And it's up to them to utilize that community, and they do.
Yeah, they do.
And they do.
Yeah.
So and it's. The Bible, God also says, guard your heart.
Guard your heart.
Guard your heart. So, like you said, how many of them did God put together? Like, no marriage is perfect.
Yeah.
It is work. It takes intentionality.
Yeah.
To make it work.
Yeah.
I heard something. I forget where I heard it from, and I hope I don't mess it up. Everybody wants a beautiful garden. Nobody wants to get dirty.
Yeah, right.
You know, nobody wants to get dirty.
Right.
In order to have a beautiful garden, you got to get down on your knees and till that soil. Right. You got to go through those roses and get thorns on your hands. Right. You got to be out there when you don't want to be out there.
Yeah.
And you got to prune where you need to prune, even though you think that it's growing away. You know, it takes work.
Yeah.
You know, and when I got married, I jokingly, tongue in cheek, went into premarital counseling. Like,
yeah,
I'm not. The first session, I was just like, I'll go through this, whatever. I'm still gonna do it regardless. But some of the questions and some of the things and the situations that he presented in those 4 or 5 sessions before you got married, were impactful to me. Yeah. And the one thing that stood out is he was like, I'm not going to marry you if you don't do this. Right. So we had to put in the work before we even jumped the broom. So we had to learn, like, what are you going to do if you guys disagree on this? What are you going to do if what she says rubs you the wrong way? Right. And what are you going to do if one of you guys disciplines a kid in a way that the other one doesn't think it needed to be done? How do you communicate that? One question that he asked us was not, do you love each other? That's not what he asked us. That's not the first question. The first question he asked us, and mind you, this was, oh, Lord, don't kill me.
Don't mess it up.
I know. Oh, you know what?
She gonna watch.
It was 14 years ago. Okay. 15 years is coming up next year. Okay. 14 years ago, he asked me, he's like, how's you guys' friendship?
That's good.
He's like, I was like, man, that's my road dog. That's my friend. Like, that's cool. He's like, well, you want to make sure that at the very least, if everything crumbled, whatever you build, if everything crumbled down to the ground, that's still your friend.
Right.
Even if you guys aren't friends after this, that's still your friend. Right. And more importantly, now that you have kids, that's the mother of your kids. Right. That's the woman that you decided to lay down and have kids with. Right. So he deserves a certain amount of respect. Right. No matter how upset you guys are, no matter how much, you may want to tell him to go lay on the couch, go sleep on the couch. I have never, ever slept on the couch.
That's word.
Never. I will never sleep on my couch unless it's by my choice.
By your choice, yeah.
I will never.
I think that's a sign of when God says what I put together. But because the fact that you went to premarital counseling and you got some counsel, you got some input, and had questions asked.
They were great questions.
Great questions, and I think that's part of good godly counsel. Yeah. And most people don't do that. I didn't do that, right? And I think, or I know that the results speak for themselves, right? The fruit speaks for itself, and if more people did that. And again, you can do it. It's just stuff can still fall apart, but I think the odds are greater in your chance if you go and you get some counseling, because you learn. It's a difference between learning about my spouse or learning about me when it's just us two, but when it's a third party and it's someone there that's neutral, that's asking questions. Yep. Like, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. Oh, I mean, I've been with her for 5 years. I didn't know that about her, right? And vice versa. So I believe like when you do that, that's part of what God has put together. But again, most people don't do that, and
most people don't even know it exists.
They don't know it exists.
I've mentioned it to people, and they was like, "I've never heard of that before." I'm like,
they used to go to counseling after the fact.
After
things break down,
after the shit hit the fan. Yeah, now you want to go to counseling, and then you want to sit there with somebody you're angry with and talk to somebody and hope. No. Think about this: if you sit down with somebody that you're angry with to try to get better, you still got to get past that anger and resentment first. You got to clear that up before you can even start to heal. So if you do premarital counseling, I don't even hate you yet. I don't hate you at all.
Right.
So it's easier for us to get to the core of it when we don't have that anger and resentment fog to keep us from getting through it.
So is a mother, boy.
It's an interesting thing to do, and It was one of the best things I think we could ever do, because in our 14 years, we've argued. Yeah. We've had, arguments. Right. And at the end of the day, you sleep on your side, I sleep on my side of the bed. And, Lord's will, we wake up in the morning and start this all over again. You try to get, because bottom line is, you're not going nowhere. Right. I'm not going nowhere. Right. So we got to fix this shit. Figure out how we can fix this shit. And knowing each other and being friends first. We were friends for 2 years before we even got together.
Bro, that's just so rare. I mean, because people are getting married after 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
They didn't check the Carfax.
Yeah.
Bro.
So I mean, that's like, so, I mean, and I always tell you that like what you have is like so rare. But I mean, you did the work. I mean, everything you have, you deserve, because you did the work to get that. It's didn't fall in your lap.
No,
right?
And the shit ain't easy. It takes. I used to tell people, marriage is the hardest job you will ever have in your life. Right. But would you rather do it with that person? If the answer is yes, then do it with that person. Right. You'd rather go with the ups and downs of life, the trials and tribulations that life brings, the hurdles that comes with it. Do you want to do it with that person that's supposed to be your co-pilot, or is that your passenger? Right. If you're carrying a person the whole way, at some point you're going to get tired. Right. But if you have a co-pilot that can drive the plane when you go to the bathroom, or if you got a headache, one of the things that kind of like surprised me with my wife one day was, I was sick and I couldn't work. I think I was off for like 3 weeks. So I'm back without, just couldn't move. And one thing she would tell me, she was like, "Don't worry, I got us. I got us. Right. Don't worry about trying to go back to work until you get healthy. You sit here, lay here, get healthy, and then, once you get back to normal, then you can kind of gradually pick up where you left off. Right. But for now, I got us." Right. That was hard for me to accept because I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to, I got us. No, I've always had us. Right. So, to know that you got us and you held us down, it proved to me, because I'm a person that got to see it to believe it. It proved to me that, you can hold us down, and you're not going to hold it over my head later either.
That's that right there.
That part right there, right?
That's the biggest part, that
you're not going to bring it up.
Breaks down.
You're not going to bring it up. Now, because we're friends, we can talk shit to each other.
Yeah, that's different.
And then we could be like, remember when you couldn't, you couldn't do shit for 3 weeks and I had to do X, Y, Z, and I'll be like, yeah, so what, So, but that's the part. You want that. You want that banter back and forth with your partner.
Not the defaming and
not to demasculate none of that. So, and she says it all the time, like, you got to be careful how you talk to your spouse or your husband.
Who says that?
My wife.
Oh, okay.
She says that. She said it to me like a couple days ago. Okay. You got to be careful how you talk to your husband in the heat of anger, because you're going to say some things, bruh, that you can't get back. These are her words.
You cannot get back.
You can't get back. You can't unring that bell once you've already rung it. Once you continuously call a man a bitch and do all of that stuff, he can't unhear that.
You can't unhear it.
And it's hard for him to come back to you in the way that you would want him to, because in the back of his head, you think I'm a bitch. Yeah. No matter how much you tell me I'm the man, in the back of your mind, your true feelings, you think I'm a bitch.
And you get the questions, you're so quiet. You don't communicate. I'm trying to talk to you, and you're not, because you think I'm a bitch.
Yep. If I say anything, if I am transparent or if I'm vulnerable, and you already think I'm a bitch, why would I be vulnerable? Why would I be transparent? I just rather be quiet and keep it pushing. Yeah. And that's partly our fault for keeping quiet and keeping it pushing, because we think that I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. I don't want to. I want to keep the peace.
Back up. How is that our fault if we're constantly, for example, being called a bitch, and we don't want to be called a bitch anymore? So we don't want to talk.
So have a conversation like,
but the conversation doesn't work, because the conversation, you could be called a bitch again.
Then it's time again to reassess your relationships and see if those relationships are going to edify you, if those relationships are going to get you to your desired
Right.
frequency in life, you know. But if we don't say anything,
I'm asking for a friend.
Got you. Well, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
You know, if I'm a bitch and I'm quiet, does that support your idea of me being a bitch?
Yeah.
If I'm quiet, does that support it, or does that combat your idea of me being a bitch? Yeah. You know, I don't like when you call me that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not that.
I'm not that.
First off, I'm not that.
Right.
I am.
First off,
I'm not that.
Right.
And I don't appreciate you calling me that. You need to change your tone,
right?
How you speak to me,
right.
Because I don't speak to you that way.
Right.
I want the same respect that I give you. I want the same respect.
Right.
That's how that goes. And if the conversation goes left, then you know what? Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be that. Moving forward, I'll be that.
Right.
And then it causes you to make some tough decisions, move certain ways. But a lot of us, we don't move certain ways because why? We want to keep the peace.
Or it takes a while.
It takes a while.
It takes a long time.
But how many times have we heard, "Oh, I don't want to hear her mouth," or "I don't want to hear his mouth"?
Heard? How many times have I said that? Have we said that? Like, but then it takes a while for you to finally realize that, you know what, this is not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Right. But I mean, everybody wakes up, on their own time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't ever think it's too late for you to wake up. But as long as you wake up, but some people don't. Right? Some people don't. I mean,
because they're used to it.
Yeah. Some people stay in life situations, you know, jobs, romances, all this for 30, 40, 50 years and be miserable.
And die at 50.
And die at 50. It's like, what's the point of that? And even though it's hard to climb out and do things different because you're so afraid, you know, someone said last night on the mantle, I'm afraid of the unknown, right? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's real. That's real because you don't know what's going to happen, but you know that this stuff right here is not how it's supposed to be. This is not how God designed it. This is not how God said, I'm going to give you life and give it to you more abundant. This is not abundant, but we want to use the scripture of God saying don't get divorced, but not the one saying, you know what, I gave you life and to live it more abundantly, right? Is the abundant all the BS and the argument and like doing things and saying things that I didn't command you to say? Is that the abundance? Or you just afraid of what you don't know, right? And that was me, you know, lots of fear behind, you know, if I make this move, then man, what's gonna happen? And even though the move was made for me, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna undo the move, right? This move was made for me. You know what? I'm just gonna walk in it and see what God has for me, and just walk the path. Because again, sometimes I'll speak for myself. I know that certain moves had to be made in my life, but I was so afraid of the pain of making that move, but the move was made anyway, all right? And sometimes it's like forced, but yeah, I think we have to just be more aware of relationships and surroundings and people who we allow into our life, because it's going to affect us.
So my question is, was the pain that you thought worse than the pain that you actually felt?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Yes and no.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, when it first started?
Period. If you're looking back now, or looking back at it right now.
Looking back, no, not at all, because I've moved through certain periods, right? So no, it's not as bad as I thought. I mean, I thought I would literally die, right? Because I can't see myself doing this, because if I do, this is what I've been used to for so long. And if I change that, I'm going to literally die. I don't want to feel that pain, because the pain came from the thoughts of losing that, the thought of that grief, right? Even though there was grief,
right,
the thought of it made it worse than it was. So that's why I'll say yes, because it was a thought. But in reality,
right,
no, it was not.
Because reality is permanent. Like, we cannot get into there's no debate that we're doing this podcast. This is a reality. This is a fact. Right. Thoughts are fleeting and they're subjective. Right. They're going to come and go.
Right.
They're going to come and go. And it brings me to the unknown. when it comes to, I'm thinking about, I don't know if weird, thinking about math equations when we were doing algebra. Work with what you know first.
Right.
And then you figure out the unknown by working with what you know. If I gave you a problem where 2 + 2 equals question mark, you're going to know that for a fact, you know you got your variable of 2.
Right.
You know you're adding, and then you're going to do another variable of 2. So you know if you do 2, I'm going to add 2 more to it, you're going to get your unknown.
Right.
But when you have
I failed math, but go ahead.
question mark plus question mark equals question mark,
Right.
like, you don't know what it could be.
Right.
But that's the beauty in it, because it's whatever you make it. It could be 2 + 2. It could be 5 + 5. It could be 1,000 + 1,000.
But is there really beauty in that when someone's going through it?
You don't know it because you're going through it.
Yeah.
But that's why you have
Right.
counsel. That's why you have community to reinforce that in you, and realize you don't have to stay in a situation that could kill you. Because the ultimate goal, when we were younger, the life expectancy of man was 77. The life expectancy now is, I want to say, anywhere between 70 and 72.
Wow.
Why is that? Why are we dying 5 years sooner than we should, technically? It's because we stick it out and we put up with stuff, and we don't speak on things, and we keep the peace, and we want to be peacekeepers and not peacemakers. We want that. And that's not what the Bible wants for us. The Bible wants us to guard our hearts, love our wives like we love the church, be leaders of men. That's what we're supposed to be. He didn't put us on this earth to be fearful. He didn't put us on this earth to be timid. He put us on this earth to thrive.
Right.
So the question I would ask him, are you thriving? Are you thriving in your situation? If you are, good. But you don't know that if you don't have people around you. If I'm going through something, and you're going through something, and there's 4 of us sitting here, and that person's going through something, and that person's going through something, we're just a community of people that's just hurt. Nobody's doing anything to get out of it.
Right.
It's like, you're stuck, I'm stuck, he's stuck, they're stuck. Nobody's doing anything to get out of it. But if there's one person in that community that says, you don't have to stay in that, you don't have to go through that.
Right.
I went through that. I'm on the other side of it. If I can get through it when I thought I was going to literally die, somebody probably be like, well, I didn't think I was going to die. But you thought you were going to die and you made it through it. Like, okay, then there's some type of hope. I don't have to stay stagnant. I may not have to leave, but I may have to be able to voice my opinion, speak in a way, because you could tell anybody anything as long as you figure out how to say it. You can tell anybody anything. You just got to learn how to speak and how to talk to people in a way that, doesn't make them so defensive. Right.
Agreed.
So, it's just community and relationships. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's why we are dying. That's why their life expectancy is down. We don't have community. We don't have enough. We don't have enough community. We don't have enough men being transparent with each other and being present with each other, because we feel that, I look like I should have it together, so I need to have it together. I'm the man. Everybody views me as the man, so I can't show quote unquote weakness. I can't be, but it's not weakness. It's being transparent. It's allowing someone to, or give them permission to feel present and transparent just by seeing you being present and transparent. So we don't have enough of that, And I think if we have that, it'd be great if our life expectancy could go back up to 87. That'd be dope.
That'd be dope. Get rid of that stress. I was talking to a gentleman. He was saying that on his, they said on his mom's side, they partied, they drank, they smoked, they did all kind of stuff. They lived to their 90s. On their dad's side, they never partied, never drank, never smoked, died in their 60s because they had so much stress on them. So it's like, wow, it's like that's a real thing. So you can do all the right things as far as how you eat, how you drink, in the party, be stressed, and you can still be done. So it's super important, and I think that comes back to willpower is a real power, right?
Exactly.
That's what it comes back to. So
exactly. So yeah, we always circle back around and get to our original topic. But yes, willpower
you got it.
is the real power.
Yeah.
Self-mastery is powerful when you know what your weaknesses are, when you know what your strengths are. It makes you a beast out here in this thing called life. You know?
It makes you a beast.
Yep.
So cool. So I think we're complete.
I think we are, at least for this episode.
Yeah, we are. So guys, thanks for watching, and as we always say, please like, share, subscribe. There's someone out there that needs to hear this message, so it will be a gift to them if you send them his podcast. Any comments, any questions, feel free to ask us, because we want to, what we do is that we may feature episodes based off of your questions. So ask us questions, make comments, and we'll see you guys next week. Have an amazing week. Peace out.